Today we are finding out the truth on Jihoon's legal battle with Devin and also what is going on with their GoFundMe to fund the legal battle. That is right, I am interviewing Jihoon's lawyer for all of this craziness first, and then later on in the video I'm going to be joined by Amanda, who is the lady who is basically the queen of the Team Jihoon thing, and she's the one who started and is running this GoFundMe. We definitely are going to find out some very good details, so guys, I don't want to waste any time. Let's jump on into this interview. A ton of people have been reaching out to me about the GoFundMe and obviously Jihoon's, legal battle and everything. And so Joseph, I want to start with you real quick. Is there any update or anything going on with Jihoon's custody battle that you can share?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is that we are, we're through the initial phase, so it's all statutory. So what we're doing is statutory at this point, and so you have the complaint, you have the answer and the counterclaim. They've filed an answer, and then for us, once we've made our statutory disclosures with respect to his income and jump through some of those statutory hoops, so it's all code based. Now it gets a little more creative, and now we have to kind of broaden the scope outward and say, okay, what other evidence is out there for us to uncover? What other evidence is out there for us to go get? And now it's an issue of just going to go get that and being a little more creative, because it's not, yes, the statutory stuff is basically put on your plate. But if you want to broaden the scope and really kind of determine his rights and determine where everything is at, we need to broaden the scope and go after some of the non-conventional evidence that's out there, that we already have some of it, and we're just trying to backtrack and just see where all that evidence came from.
Totally. And then can we backpedal real quick? Because I know he has this custody battle, but I've heard rumors that there's this defamation and all this other stuff going on. What exactly is going on that you can share with these legal battles?
First of all, I got to pour it out to Amanda. I got to pour it out to his fan base, and they are phenomenal. So, they have done a lot of backtracking, and then, I know I work with people as well who are just extremely dedicated, but prefer to be, out of the limelight as well. And so, obviously, everybody who's on board here is just working phenomenally hard for Jihoon. People kept sending us information, and the information was all based upon public interviews and things like that. And so then we went from there and we said, okay, is that true, or is that possibly true? And some of this stuff, so under Utah law, there's a statute, there's a section of law that says, if you're defaming somebody, if what you're saying is not true, then you have 1 year to bring that case. And so that's what we did. So we just basically said, based upon what's already out in the public record, which is in print, it was sent to us, we have copies of everything that way. We just said we're going to protect his rights.
Okay, so he does have a defamation lawsuit, and they have an additional custody battle.
Right, the custody battle is marked private on the court record. So, I'm limited as to what I could talk about with respect to that. I can always talk about generally what would happen in these situations. But the defamation case is a little bit different. That's a tort action. And so that's out in the public sphere that way. And that would, that includes the fact that we did, it took us a while to get the other side served. We've named unspecified people. So Jane and John Doe's, I believe 1 through 20. And so that's what we're doing now, is just trying to identify.
Obviously, we can't talk about what is going on, but I am curious from Jihoon's side, does he have a goal, or what is he trying to accomplish? He lives in Korea, she lives in Utah. I just don't even understand, even if he does get custody, which I think he totally deserves, but even if he does get it, what are they going to possibly, does he have any intentions of what he wants to really do?
Yeah, and so I deal a lot with international custody cases. And so, the hard part about that is the statutes are designed for people living within 150 miles of each other, right? So, that's, in the state of Utah, that's pretty far. If you were to move from Utah to St. George, I think that's roughly 150 miles or something like that. It's just over 150 miles. So, that's something like that. They're not designed for international, people living state to state. And so then you kind of fall under a different section of the code. And that one is just even though you may not have weekly visits, it's designed to have a protracted visit. So therefore, so that way, in this particular case, or maybe some of these other cases that I deal with, then you're starting to deal with longer, like weeks. So basically, that he would have a portion of the year marked out where he would be able to exercise his visitation that way, pursuant to the court order. And that's basically what he's going for. He's basically going for saying, look, his son deserves to have his Korean culture. He deserves to grow up knowing his grandparents on that side as well, and to know him as a father. And so those are very worthwhile goals. And what it looks like, that's up in the air because there's such a broad spectrum under the statute.
Another quick question I had, then we can transition over to Amanda, but I'm kind of curious, and I know you and Amanda have been working together on this GoFundMe. Do you have any kind of updates or what exactly is going on with the GoFundMe? It was started in December. We're now in March. What exactly is going on with the GoFundMe?
So the GoFundMe, that was set up by Amanda. So I've dealt with GoFundMe. I gave over every documentation that they needed. And so realistically, that was the way it had to be set up, because at least, and Amanda can talk more about that as well. Yeah. I think the biggest thing was that because Jihoon was international and he was, his case is over here in the United States. That's basically why the GoFundMe had to be set up that way. I mean, I work with international clients, and so I have a lot of different ways to pay for other people who are outside of the United States, or things of that nature. But in this particular case, when it was originally set up, I think it had a very low amount in it. I know that there was they were worried about the default judgment happening against Jihoon, and so they set up the GoFundMe fairly quickly, and then they reached out to me, and that's how it all started. And so everything that's donated there is funneled into the law firm that way. We've done an incredible amount of work in terms of, just a quick, basically the answer, the response, the discovery information, sifting through all the data that way. And so from my end, it's just, keeping up with it that way, but it's managed and monitored by the law firm and the staff there. So
awesome. Okay, Joseph, I don't want to take any more of your time. I want to transition on over to Amanda. Just want to say thank you so much for coming on this channel, and maybe once everything is done and everything, you can come back on and give us an update in a couple months or something.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Joseph. That was really interesting. We definitely got to learn more of the legality, I guess you could say, with everything going on. Definitely pretty interesting stuff. Now I want to transition over to the queen of the team, Jihoon, I guess, and that would be Amanda. She's the one that headed up the GoFundMe and a bunch of other stuff for Jihoon. So Amanda, hi. Thank you so much for coming on. How is everything going?
It's going really well. Let's see, we're almost the end of March. I started this the beginning of December. So yeah, we've been doing this for quite a while now. So thank you so much for this opportunity to come on your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I've had, seriously, I'm not even kidding, hundreds of people ask me, especially when it came out in December, what is it? What is going on? So I think this is really cool. I want to hear from you. I have a long list of questions, but just I'm curious, I'm personally curious, how did you meet Jihoon? Who are you? What is your relationship with him? I'm curious how all that kind of stuff happened.
Well, okay. In December is when the GoFundMe started. I did not know what I was getting into. I did not realize that it was going to get as much attention that it did. I did not follow Devin or Jihoon at all on Instagram. I'm fairly new to Instagram myself. I haven't even been on there a year. Oh, wow. So I started it. I was actually recovering from an emergency surgery when I started it. So I had some time off from my regular job. And I figured, I could help get him a little bit of funds to get him started in whatever it was that was really going on between him and Devin. I did not know Jihoon. I was not friends with him. I never spoke a word to him at all. It was picked up, I think, within 3 days of it starting. It got international attention. Wow. People were not okay with it. It was flagged for many different reasons. The short answer is, I guess, fraud. It was taken down off of the platform. GoFundMe sent me a laundry list of things to complete if I wanted it to get back up. Number one was that Jihoon was going to have to be involved. And, that was going to be the hardest thing to accomplish because he's pretty popular and he's in South Korea. Mm-hmm. And, I don't speak his language. I don't know him. I don't know people who do know him. So we needed help. We asked the public's help. We just tried to get the word out to him. We were running out of time. They only gave me X amount of days to complete this stuff before they were going to start closing it down for good. So by some miracle, he wrote to me on Instagram and, it was short. Who are you? Mm-hmm. Why do you want to help me? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I explained to him, I understand you're going through some stuff. Here's what's going to happen. If you would like to accept this help, we got to go through all of this stuff that GoFundMe wants. He was a little bit reluctant on it, but he was more desperate to prevent his son being taken away from him than anything else. Mm-hmm. So the team and I, we were just like almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just plucking away at everything that we needed to get in order for him. Mm-hmm. We had to translate some of the documents, especially like the stuff that GoFundMe needed, into Korean. And that is something that people don't understand. Like, we used ASAP Translate, and it was $25 per paragraph. And a paragraph is like what? Between 4 and 6 sentences. Uh-huh. And those things can add up pretty quick. So we just had to do it to get it to him so that he could get that stuff back to us. Okay. So fast forward, it opened back up. And then, people were still not okay with it, and they were still reporting it. Even to this day, people threaten coming on Instagram and saying, I'm going to report it. I'm going to report it. So we had a kind of like a sit down, if you want to call it, with GoFundMe, and just said, whether you want to look at it this way or not, it is a high profile type of situation. And we explained to them, you guys are going to get reports all of the time on this campaign. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll look at it when we feel like there is a real need to look at it. Ever since then, between December and January, we haven't really had any problems, thank God. But there are people, like there was a lady the other day who found me on Facebook, who reached out to me through her personal messenger. She was pretending to be with a law group that represented GoFundMe, and she wanted all of my background information and all that kind of stuff. So I actually reported her to GoFundMe. Wow. We're not dealing with that anymore. Like, we let it go for a long time, but I did send all of her information to GoFundMe, and they wrote me back and was like, this is not us. They make it very clear that they will never reach out to you unless it's the verifiable way that you give to them. So that's what I mean when I say I did not know what I was getting myself into.
Right. Yeah, so interesting. So I did not know any of that. Honestly, I did. So let me backtrack, because so did you just make the GoFundMe, and then I remember the GoFundMe was up, then it got shut down a couple hours after, like you were saying. So I didn't realize, did you make it on your own without even being in contact with Jihoon?
Yes, I did. Okay. Interesting. I was actually talking amongst some friends on Instagram. We saw a lot of concerning things come from, Devin about things that she was saying about Jihoon, because, she's never really kept anything to herself. And so I was like, we talked about it, about, what if we kind of just started a little GoFundMe to help him find a lawyer? did not know the scope of what that meant at the time.
So you were just a super fan of the show. You liked watching the show. You liked Jihoon more than Devin, and you figured he needs help, so you wanted to start him a GoFundMe.
I liked him in the sense that he was just kind of quiet and keeping to himself.
Yeah.
And I thought he could find a lawyer in South Korea. And it turns out that that's not the case. He needed a lawyer here in the United States. So we got roped into it pretty hard. Yeah,
I mean, you were saying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to get personal at all, but I'm curious. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, is it just from the kindness of your own freaking heart? Like, that just seems so nice. Why buy? Like, I really, I think that's great. You're helping him, but I don't want to say why help him. But I'm kind of curious too. Like, why help? Like, that just seems like it's a full-time job. You know what I mean?
It was a full-time job, and I was, like I said, I was very sick at the time too, recovering from a major surgery, an abdominal surgery. But the thing was, it was just put on my heart to do it, and I had the means to do it, and I had the voice to do it. And I figured if it wasn't meant to go as far as it was, then it wouldn't have gone anywhere. People were listening to me, and people were willing to help me. There is no way that I would have been able to do this on my own. There is just no way. I had a little team. I had a team of like 3 or 4 people, and then that grew and grew and grew and grew. It grew into people in all different countries helping me around the clock, doing different things, and then people just donating. He was very genuine. He was always talking to me. We had to establish a line of communication that would make sense to where we could talk, because talking on Instagram wasn't working. So, we had to establish a line of communication where we could talk to each other. And that in and of itself was hard because he's 16 hours ahead of me. I didn't realize it would be months and months down the road that we would still be doing this. I mean, it turned into an international movement.
Crazy. So now, so that was started in December. Here we are in March. There was a goal to raise $50,000. So I am curious too. I don't want to get on a sidetrack, but why $50,000? Is that just like what the lawyer said? Is that what you guys were estimating? Who came up with that number?
When I started the GoFundMe, I called around just to different law firms just to get a quote on what they felt like an international custody battle would cost. It was anywhere between $50,000 to over $100,000. Now I wasn't going to start that high. So I started at the low end of it, and that's where we had to start. That's just the picked.
So you guys raised $14,000. I saw you guys, they can donate via PayPal, so maybe a hair more than 14, 15 grand, whatever it is, but you guys didn't hit the $50,000 goal. I'm kind of curious, so is he able to, like, we talked to Joseph, but is he able to really like work with him if he didn't hit the goal? Can he get the money? I saw that the GoFundMe is still active. I don't know anything about GoFundMe. So is he able to use the money for the legal battle, or does he have to wait till he hits the goal?
No. So, and this is the kind of hard thing about GoFundMe. To even donate, you have to be in a supported country, which is why we opened up PayPal. So people who are internationally helping, they can't donate to GoFundMe. So we opened up PayPal. Joe has already said that he will see this thing out through to the end, as much as possible. I really, I started this, so I want to see it through as much as possible. I don't want to leave Joe and his legal assistant, Amber, high and dry. Instagram is great. It's not great to conduct business. It just isn't. We were relying on Instagram to run this entire thing. But, no offense, there's a lot of crybabies on Instagram.
Yeah, no, totally. And so I guess I am still kind of curious, though. I get the PayPal thing, but with GoFundMe, do they really hold your money until you hit that goal?
No. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But they want you to withdraw money all the time, because they take 5 cents of every donation, and then they take 2.9% of every time you withdraw.
Wow.
And for a while there, because we didn't have a trust linked to the account, there was no bank account information linked to this GoFundMe. I was not going to put my bank account. We weren't going to put Jihoon's bank account. Obviously, he's not in a supported country. So that money was just sitting there. And GoFundMe had a problem with that because they were not making any money. So they were saying, if you don't do this in this amount of time, we're going to start refunding everybody.
Wow.
They were constantly putting pressure on us. Well, we hired Joe and we were like, can you please open up a trust account right away? As soon as you get put on the books as representing Jihoon, can you please open up the trust account so that we can start withdrawing the money into that account? They're very particular in how they want things done. And I get it because, people have an opportunity to make a very large amount of money on their platform. It's free to use, but they have to make their money somehow.
Yeah.
And that's how.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. That is cool. So now I ask my followers a bunch, I asked them, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. And a bunch of questions came in. Now, I do not, condone these questions. I did not ask these. I'm just saying this is what people are asking. So I don't mean to sound rude. I'm just kind of curious though, because some people, they're curious, they want to know. And if it is too rude, we can just skip it. But people are asking, Jihoon got his nose done. Everyone's curious. I don't know the dates, but they seem to kind of have a little bit of overlap. And people are asking me, what is the possibility that he got this GoFundMe, used the money, went and bought a new nose and a new outfit and all this crap? Obviously, I don't think that's the case, but I do want to hear from you. Do you have an answer for everyone out there saying, he's just taking this money and buying a new wardrobe and all that kind of crap?
Okay, so nobody has ever had access to this money besides Joe. GoFundMe makes sure of that. Believe me, they watch us very closely because we have to make sure that the money is being dispersed in the way that we have told them it is going to be dispersed. There is only one person who is allowed to withdraw money, and that is the beneficiary. If you go to the GoFundMe account homepage, it says that Joseph Alamia is the beneficiary, not Jihoon Lee.
Yeah.
So, and as far as like his nose and all that stuff, that all happened way before we all got involved. I mean, and people were like, well, he should have been saving money before, all this happened. I mean, why would he save money for a non-existent divorce and custody case? It wasn't, none of that was going on at this time. So, people are free to spend their money however they want. And, it was not happening at that time. So there was no reason for that.
Totally. No, I get that for sure. That makes sense. And I did see on the GoFundMe, I can 100% confirm it does say Joseph's name is the beneficiary. So that's totally true. That's right. And yeah, interesting. So another question I got too, it's for you. It's just kind of, like your guys are, I didn't know you guys were working that much on it, but someone was curious. Are you guys getting paid anything? I know Joseph is going to get paid something, obviously, and the money is for him, but are you guys going to be getting anything? Like, it just seems, especially now hearing how much you and you're saying your team, was working, are you guys getting anything out of it, or is it just the kindness of your own heart, you're just volunteering your time?
No, we're not getting paid. It's volunteering at this point. The primary goal of this whole thing is just everybody's doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. But, it's really nice because the people who are donating know how much we work, and we get gifts. Like, I got an amazing gift from a couple followers. Look at this. It's a tumbler. It says Team G.
Oh, wow.
And it has my name on the other side. So, I mean, it's not a thankless job. It really isn't. We know how much we are appreciated, and it's not really about us being paid. At the end of the day, I don't know, maybe this can have a spot on my resume somewhere down the line. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, really, it is just us doing it out of the kindness of our hearts right now. So Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you definitely are in contact with Jihoon, and I don't know how much you can say, but I am curious. We haven't heard from the guy in, I mean, it's been a very long time since Jihoon has been on our TV screens. I'm curious, do you have any update on how he is? How is he? Is he dating? How's life for him? Do you know what he's up to lately?
So, okay, when I started talking to him, he was working 6 days a week.
Wow.
His days off were on Wednesdays, and then he was going to Terry's school to learn English. And he was becoming a little bit frantic, so he started working 7 days a week now.
Wow.
He went live a little bit this morning after his deliveries to do karaoke. So I don't know if you got to see that or not. I didn't get to see it, but he's doing a lot better. He's in better spirits now than he was before. I don't know anything about his dating life. When we drag him out to do a live, I mean, he is just literally waking up. And then he has enough time to like shower. Sometimes he does work out. And then he goes right back to work. But he is enjoying doing these eating challenges. He's really excited for those. He wants to be more involved with this. He likes to be private and keep his personal stuff, to himself. He did an appreciation post for his son, which was just really heartbreaking on Instagram. I don't know if you saw it. He's saving money to come out here when the time comes. So he's looking forward to it. He has a lot of people who support him, but within our group, he has a very close support system of people who talk to him daily, make sure that he's, taking care of himself and doing the things that he needs to do. So, yeah.
Good. Wow. Okay, one last question before we sign off for the day. We've been talking for a minute, but one last question. I am freaking curious on, I know I asked Joe briefly, but I'm curious what you think. Does he mention his goal? Let's say that this custody battle goes in his favor and he does get custody. He lives freaking across the whole world. What is his, I can't even wrap my head around, what would his goal be? Would it be 6 months here, 6 months there? And would he have to fly? Like, how would that, has he mentioned to you what this custody would even look like if he does get it?
No, he has not mentioned that to me at all, unfortunately. I don't have an answer on that one.
I just don't, I honestly, I feel bad for him and Devin in that situation because it really sucks. They have a kid, and I don't see how they can split the time. And I really, to tell you the truth, I feel most bad for Taeyong because he's in the middle of this really crummy situation, and so it definitely kind of sucks. But Amanda, any last comments or words? I'm going to put a link above or below this video to the GoFundMe. We have a pretty big Jihoon audience. A lot of people do like Jihoon, so I'm going to put a link below. If you have extra money sitting aside, I think we all just got a stimulus check. I never got one, but I think it's coming in the mail, I think. So if you do have some extra money, you want to donate it to Jihoon, feel free. I think, Amanda and Jihoon and the rest of the team would appreciate it. But Amanda, do you have any last comments, questions, anything you want to say before we sign off for the day?
I just want to thank everybody who has supported us throughout this whole entire endeavor. The most that we have ever asked anyone to donate is $5. I think that's the minimum you can donate on the platform, is $5. If you can spare that, great. If you can't, if you can find it in your heart to just share the campaign, that helps just as much too, to get the word out there. We're doing really great. I will give Max the link to the next eating challenge. Just be careful because it is kind of yucky. But other than that, thank you so much, Max, for having me. I really enjoy talking to you.
Oh my God, you guys, that was so much fun. I freaking love doing these interviews. They are a freaking blast. And yeah, it's interesting. I learned some things with the lawyer that was kind of surprising, and I definitely learned some things with Amanda that I did not know. I did not know any of that time. I did not know any of that. So like I said in the interview, if you want to donate, if you want to help out, if you are a fan of Jihoon, and I am not standing here saying I am King Jihoon or I am King Devin, I am not refuse to pick a side. I'm just going to stand here in the middle and say I am sorry for Tae Young. I feel bad for that kid, and that is it. But if you are on Team Jihoon and you want to support him and you want to donate to the GoFundMe, I'm going to put a link above or below this video. Support him, you know, donate some money, do what you want to do if you want to do that and help him out. Well, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did and you want me to interview someone else, you can hit me up on Facebook and you can hit me up on Instagram. Well, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit the comments below, hit the subscribe, share, follow, everything else. I love you guys all so much, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.